If you've been gardening long enough, you are probably told that composting is the ultimate solution for soil health. Pile it up, turn it, wait months, and eventually you get compost. But here's the truth: experienced gardeners are starting to accept. Traditional composting is slow, nutrient loss heavy, space hungry, and, well, kinda outdated. There is a method that works faster, preserves more nutrients, handles all food waste, and improves soil biology far more efficiently. That method is bokashi fermentation, and once you understand how it works, regular composting starts to feel like a relic of the past. Why traditional composting fails modern gardens? Traditional composting relies on aerobic breakdown, which means constant exposure to oxygen. While that process does create usable compost, it also releases large amounts of nitrogen into the air, as ammonia and carbon as CO2. That's nutrients literally escaping your garden. Compost piles also struggle with consistency. Too wet and they rot, too dry and they stall. Many gardeners end up with half-finished compost that takes 6 months to a year to mature, and even then much of the original nutrition is gone. Another major flaw is limitation. Meat scraps, dairy, cooked foods, citrus peels and oily leftovers are usually excluded because they attract pests or rot improperly. That means a huge portion of potential soil nutrition goes straight to the trash. For serious gardeners focused on soil regeneration, that waste is unacceptable. How bokashi fermentation works instead of rotting. Bokashi doesn't rot organic matter, it ferments it. This is the critical difference that makes it superior. Instead of oxygen-dependent microbes breaking material down slowly, bokashi uses anaerobic beneficial microbes to pickle food waste. The process preserves nutrients rather than losing them to the air. Bokashi relies on a microbial inoculant, often called bran, which is infused with lactic acid bacteria, yeasts, and phototrophic microbes. When food waste is layered with this bran and sealed in an airtight container, fermentation begins immediately. Within days, organic material is stabilized, pathogen levels drop, and nutrients are locked in place. This means your nitrogen stays nitrogen, your minerals stay mineralized, nothing escapes. What makes bokashi faster and more powerful than compost? Well, speed alone makes bokashi a game changer. Food waste can be fully fermented in 10 to 14 days. There is no turning, no temperature management, and no guessing. Once fermented, the material is not finished compost, but it is ready to be converted into soil nutrition incredibly fast. When fermented bokashi waste is buried in soil, it finishes breaking down in 2 to 3 weeks. Compare that to traditional compost that often takes 6 months before it's safe and stable. Gardeners can go from kitchen scraps to plant-available nutrition in under a month. The nutrient density is also noticeably higher. Bokashi material feeds soil microbes directly, which then feed plant roots through natural nutrient cycling. Plants grown in bokashi-amended soil consistently show stronger root development, darker foliage, and improved disease resistance. Now, one of the most practical advantages of bokashi is that it handles all food waste without exceptions. Bokashi really does accept everything: meat, bones, dairy, cooked food, bread, citrus, onions, and yes, even small amounts of oil can all be fermented safely. The key really is balance and layering. For every 2 to 3 inches of food waste, you simply apply a light but even sprinkle of bokashi bran, about 1 tablespoon per cup of scraps. After that, the waste is pressed down to remove air and then sealed. The liquid that drains from the container, often called bokashi tea, is diluted at a ratio of 1 tablespoon per litre of water. This can be applied directly to soil or even poured down drains to support microbial activity. This system works equally well in apartments, urban gardens, and large homesteads because it produces no foul odor when done correctly. How to apply bokashi directly to garden beds for real results. The most effective way to use bokashi is direct soil integration. Once fermentation is complete, trenches are dug 8 to 12 inches deep in garden beds. The fermented material is spread evenly, then covered completely with soil. This depth prevents animals from accessing it and places nutrients exactly where roots will grow. So, a good working ratio is 1 part fermented bokashi waste to 3 parts soil by volume. In raised beds, this might look like, well, 1 5-gallon bucket of bokashi waste spread across 8 to 10 square feet, then buried and watered thoroughly. After 2 to 3 weeks, the bed is ready for planting. For perennial systems and fruit trees, bokashi can be buried along the drip line. Why does bokashi build living soil instead of dead compost? Unlike compost that finishes biologically neutral, bokashi introduces active microbial life into the soil. The fermentation process favors organisms that suppress pathogens and support beneficial fungi. This creates soil that is biologically alive, not just physically amended. Gardeners transitioning to bokashi often notice improved soil structure within 1 season. Clay loosens, sandy soil holds moisture longer. Soil holds. Earthworm populations increase rapidly because fermented organic matter is easier for them to process. This is soil regeneration, not just soil feeding. So, why does bokashi replace compost instead of just supplementing it? You see, some gardeners try to use bokashi alongside their compost. But honestly, once the results become clear, those old compost piles tend to disappear entirely. Bokashi just takes less space, less time, and really less effort, all while delivering, well, superior outcomes. It transforms waste into soil food efficiently and, consistently, no matter the climate or season. For serious gardeners who are focused on yield, resilience, and, of course, long-term soil health, bokashi isn't just an alternative. It's honestly an upgrade. If you found this guide useful and you'd like more practical, proven gardening systems that actually work in the real world, go ahead and subscribe to Evergreen Garden and, well, share this with a fellow gardener who's still turning compost piles and waiting months for results.